seconds.
And then I'll open the meeting, Isaac, because
Yes,
Tala's
now
not
are you
here.
the founder or should I just say acting president?
Charter president.
Okay.
And then I'll open the meeting, Isaac, because Tala's not here.
Okay.
Charter president.
Charter president, great. And I'm trying to get my doggone YouTube thing speaker. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Leaders Worldwide, a President's Distinguished Club. If you are a guest, please name yourself or put your title of what you are doing today. The club mission: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce the Charter President, Cynthia Stott. Over to you, Cynthia.
Thank you, thank you.
And you are muted, it sounds like.
Oh, am I muted now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Can't hear you, Cynthia.
Michelle can.
I can hear her.
We can hear.
I can hear you as well.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Hi.
First, let me do some housekeeping. Sandra Edwards, would you be able to use your timing cards with the folders? Do you have those? Would you be able to pitch hit for us with the timing cards?
I have them, but I can't stay here all evening.
Ah, okay, okay.
We have an
Do we have
appointment
anyone
at
else who could do
6:45.
timing? Oh, Lydia's here. Would you be able to do timing? Lydia?
Yeah.
And do you have the virtual backgrounds, or it can even be a Rubik's Cube I've seen fill
I
in?
can do timing if no one has. I have all kinds of colors.
Oh, that would be
Okay.
fantastic, Judith. Thank you.
So who's going to do the timing, Lydia?
Judith.
Judith.
Judith. Okay.
She wants to do it, that's fine.
Okay. And so Judith, you'll do general evaluator and timer. Is that going to be okay?
I guess
Because-
so, because I think the general evaluator in this club is different from other clubs, so I don't introduce the evaluators here. The Toastmaster does all that, I understand, right?
No,
Yeah.
At the
If
after the
she's-
break, yes.
if she's already doing something, I can do timer. It's not a problem.
Okay, we'll have
Okay.
Lydia do it then. One roll.
Why don't you have one roll each? Lydia do timer
Fine.
and Judith do general evaluator. That would be great. Okay, so we're all teamwork, right? Oh my goodness. Awesome. Well, I am Cynthia Stott, as Isaac said, and I am the charter president. I want to welcome any guests we have. Luim, would you like to introduce yourself and say where you're calling in from and what time it is, and why you came to this meeting today?
Okay, a very good morning to everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Okay, my name is Luim. I come from Malaysia, and now it's 10 o'clock here in the morning, Tuesday. And I am here to learn English, to learn how to be a public speaker, and also to enhance my knowledge in terms of vocabulary, pronunciation, and everything about English. And I love you all. Thank you very much.
Aw, we love you too, Luim. We're so glad you're here. Awesome. And we have Pamela Davis. Would you like to introduce yourself and where you're calling in from and why you came to this meeting today? And you're the queen of resilience. I love it.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Pamela Anita Mary Davis. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and it is 8:05 p.m. I'm so excited to be here with you all. And the reason why I came today is to continue to better myself as a speaker and to learn from you all. Thank you.
Awesome. We're so glad you're here. And I think that's all of our guests. Am I right? Good to see you. T-Buds, you've been out for a while. Yeah, great.
I'm a guest too, but
Good
You-
morning.
oh,
Oh, right.
Judith, I do not consider you a guest. That's so funny. Yes, you are a guest. You're a special guest. Judith, would you like to introduce yourself?
yes, I am Judith Ferber, one of the guests. I am a Toastmaster for many, many years, 15 or so years, and I am a distinguished Toastmaster and member of 3 clubs, and I live in Santa Monica, California. That's where I
Beautiful. Beautiful. Welcome, welcome. And the general evaluator. We love it. We love it. We love to put you to work. Great. Great. Okay. So without further ado, I will introduce tonight's Toastmaster, and that's none other than DTM Rosemary. I always get Rosemary and Rosalind mixed up. Rosalind Kahn. Yes, Rosalind Kahn. Welcome.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. I'm so honored and privileged to be with you here tonight. And I've decided March is International Women's Month. And, you know, there's a lot of women who've gone out there and done some pretty amazing things. I like to share with you just one woman I met. Her name is Nettie Harbinger. And I went to a movie here in Los Angeles. It was a screening of Back to 1826. Nettie was a woman who grew up in Scotland. And in Scotland, she was with a family of people who were in the whiskey business. And to cut the story short, it was a lovely getting married. Her husband died early. And back in 1826, she stood in front of all the men who said, this should be a man running this company. She shredded the check and said, no, I've been doing this all my life and I'm going to run this company. She didn't know how. Her whiskey has sold for the most highest price whiskey that's out there. So to women like that, we give credence to what women can actually do. When the odds are against them, they can stand up and they can do for themselves. So on that note, I'd like to go ahead and kick off the meeting here. And I'd like to introduce you to our general evaluator, Ms. Judith Ferber, who is also from the beautiful Southern California. Yay for the South.
Yes, yes. And also part of the hummingbirds family, which I generally have a background, but I decided to change it. In any case, I am a general evaluator, which is, I'm really looking forward to it. So I am going to, do you want me to introduce the timers right now? I don't know how this all works. So, okay, a general evaluator, I will introduce the functionaries, and then I will at the end of the meeting, I will evaluate the meeting. So, timer. Who is the timer? Oh, Lydia. So tell us what you are going to do.
All right. Greetings, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. My role as the timer is to time all of the table topics, speeches, prepared speeches, and the evaluations. So I will let people know when they have much time they have left by using the green, yellow, and
Can
red.
you show us the timing colors so then we know what you're going to do? Can you demonstrate the?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was going to. Yeah, I was getting to that.
Oh.
So for the table topics, I will show at 1 minute the green card. At 1 minute, 30 seconds, the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, the red card. And for the prepared speeches, I will show the green card at 5 minutes, at 6 minutes, the yellow, and the red at 7. And for the evaluations, I will raise the green card at 2 minutes, at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'll do the yellow, and at 3 minutes, I will raise the red card.
Lydia, could we see the cards and what they look like? And also, can you raise your hand?
Yeah,
so
we
that you're
don't
up in the-
we don't see the colors.
Yeah, we aren't seeing the colors.
Yeah, you have to turn on your video.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Let me
Awesome.
raise it again.
Okay, so we know you have the red color. I assume that you have the green and the yellow as well,
So
right?
here's the green, and there's
Okay.
the
All right, thank you very much. And everybody else has about 30 seconds at the end of their time to finish their speech, whether it's the table topics or speeches or evaluation. The next person is our grammarian and the word of the day, and that's Sally Reyes. You have to unmute. I guess this still is a problem, isn't it?
Thank you. Good afternoon. And welcome to Women's International Month. And our special word of the day for that is dynamic. We are energetic and forward moving in moving and expression. That's all of us. Dynamic. Thank you. And I will be judging the ums and the ahs and buts and for words that are unnecessary in our speeches, which is now getting really, really very few unusual words, unnecessary words. And I also love to pay attention to phrases and words that are very unique and interesting and bring it to your attention at the end of the day. And thank you. Be sure to use our dynamic.
Can you put it in a chat so then people actually can remember the word?
I will put it in the chat because she can't do chat. I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. So then people know what it is. Okay, thank you so much. And I think this is what I am doing. And so back to your Toastmaster, Roslyn.
All right, so I would like to begin to introduce you to our dynamic first evaluator, Carrie Lynn. Carrie Lynn, can you take it away for me?
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Today I will be evaluating Dee Maria King's speech, and hers is connect with your audience. Her goal is to track the reactions of her audience and make the adjustments in order to stay connected with the audience. Back to you.
Beautiful. Thank you. So our first speaker is Dorothy King. Put up or shut up. And Dorothy King, connect with your audience.
5 to 7 minutes. Yes.
5 to 7 minutes.
Have you ever heard a voice inside your head that spoke so profoundly, it caused you to stop in your tracks? I heard that voice at one point in my life, and what it said was, shut up, put up, or shut up. I'd like for you to join me as we celebrate Women's History Month and learn that the voice of one woman actually changed the course of history. And the obedience of another impacted her life in a significant way. Think back with me to August of 1963. It's the National Mall in Washington, D.C. The late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is actually struggling as he attempts to deliver a message of hope to a large audience that had gathered on the National Mall. They were wandering around, not really paying him that much attention. That is, until the late gospel singer, Mahalia Jackson, walked over and said these words. "Tell him about the dream, Martin. Tell him about the dream." I have a dream. I have a dream today, were the next words to come out of Dr. King's mouth. Now, I want you to imagine if you were in that audience, you would have noticed the hush that came over the crowd. They immediately began to give him their undivided attention as he continued his mantra, I have a dream. His I have a dream speech has gone down in history as the greatest speech that Dr. King ever gave, all because he was obedient to the whisper from a woman. My defining moment came at the lowest point in my existence. I was spared, my life was spared in an automobile accident where I was pent behind the wheel. The motor was smoking and I was rendered unconscious. I remember regaining consciousness and I could smell the fumes and the odors from the gas and oil coming up into the car. I remember a police officer coming to the window, which was broken out, as he said, 911 has been called and help is on the way. But I don't remember the loud crash that had to have occurred when those vehicles collided. I do remember thinking to myself, I could die. I could die as tears rolled down my face. My car was being catapulted toward a huge metal telegram post. I pressed hard on the brake with my right foot in an effort to stop the car, but to no avail. The diagnosis was a fractured right tibia. I would be home from work for 4 months. I went from a wheelchair to these crutches. And I remember as I was learning how to use the crutches, I thought to myself, I'm never going to walk correctly again. But I'm here to tell you tonight that my leg has healed and my stride and my strut are as good as ever. But something else happened during those 4 months that I was home. I remember sitting at my dining room table, legs stretched out straight, doctor's orders. And I heard just as clearly as I'm speaking to you, a voice that said, put up or shut up. Now, I didn't have to guess what that voice was because I had written my first poem in junior high school. And from time to time, I was constantly saying, I'm going to write a book. I am going to write a book. But getting married, having children, going back to college as an adult, left no time for writing a book. But here I am now. I'm home from work for the next 4 months. My kids are grown and married. I decided to be obedient. I began to write the pages of Glass Heart Forever Yours. But then I thought, would God speak to someone like that? And is he telling me to write a romance novel? I pushed past those thoughts and I continued to write the manuscript. I finished the book. I designed the cover, all because I decided to be obedient. My next defining moment came as I entered a room on Clubhouse, where the renowned motivational speaker, Les Brown, said these words, if you know that God has performed a miracle in your life, that's the first thing you should say wherever you find yourself. Because by telling your story, you may empower someone else to tell theirs. It was as if a light went off inside my head. I realized then that I had suppressed the accident and all the trauma and pain associated with it. I had told no one about it. And I wasn't even promoting the book that I had self-published. I decided to be obedient. I began promoting the book on events on Clubhouse and audiocast on LinkedIn. And as I did so, I realized that God had a plan all along. The audiences that I spoke with defined what the book meant to them. They said that coming out of the scourge of deaths, the isolation, and the social distancing of COVID-19, Glass Heart Forever Yours represented to them a return to love and romance, and it gave them hope. It was amazing. I never saw that coming. And all because I decided to be obedient. The book is now on Amazon, and I'm working to make it a bestseller. My advice to you is simple. Don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today. Stop making excuses, because the voice that you hear inside your head may come as a whisper. Tell them about the dream. Tell them about the dream, Martin. And it may come as a direct set of instructions. Put up or shut up. But regardless as to how that voice comes to you, I am here to say, heed that sound. Heed the voice inside your head. And by all means, be obedient. Madam Timer.
All right, let's call for 1 minute of silence, and then we will call for evaluator number 2.
One minute.
All right, we will go to introducing our evaluator number 2. Our second dynamic individual we have is Michelle Peticolas. Michelle, take it away.
Thank you, Rosalind. Our next speaker is Isaac Ford, and he is going to be doing a speech from Persuasive Influence. And when you know, I clicked a button and the description of it, but he is going to be doing a speech involving persuasive influence, a speech on a topic that is new or unfamiliar to club members to practice adapting during the presentation. Adapt to the audience's reaction to maintain engagement. So here, the kind of speech he's doing is connect to your audience. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. So, Isaac Ford, can you do it? Persuasive influence, connect with your audience. Time is 5 to 7 minutes.
I was 25 years old. I couldn't get out of bed. I had to roll out of bed because my body ached all the time. So one morning, my wife Jojo said, honey, I need to lose a little weight. Would you come with me to Weight Watchers for moral support? Thinking, Jojo was a singer. She had these brown eyes like Diana Ross and a body like Tina Turner. So I'm thinking, you really don't need to lose any weight. But I said, sure, I'll go with you to Weight Watchers. When we got to Weight Watchers, this little blonde drill sergeant said, "Welcome to Weight Watchers. My name is Shar, and the first thing I need you to do is weigh yourself. Who wants to go first?" I'll go. I'm just here to support my wife. I don't need to. JoJo's eyes told me everything I needed to know. I tricked you. Did you really think I needed to lose weight? I'm Tina Turner, baby. The Shar said, "Well, there's a few things you guys are going to need to do. And the first thing is keep a food journal. And then the second thing is change your diet. And finally, exercise. You have to exercise." Now, there was one thing that I didn't like about Weight Watchers, is they were located next door to Hometown Buffet.
Oh,
But I thought, I'll get with the program. And 1 week later, I'm driving home and, ooh, my chest. I thought I was having a heart attack. After a few minutes, I calmed down and I realized I got to take losing weight serious. So when I drive into my driveway, there is Mrs. Allen. Now, Mrs. Allen was like the neighborhood celebrity. You would see her walking all over town. Everybody knew her name. I never met her personally. Now, Mrs. Allen was in her 50s, but she looked 30. She would remind you of Venus Williams, athletic, energetic, and youthful. She inspired me to start walking. I thought, if she can do it, I can do it. At first, after walking 10 minutes, I had to stop. But I kept trying. I kept chugging along. Eventually, I got up to 30 minutes. Soon, it was feeling pretty good. So I started getting up an hour early to go walking before I went to work. And at work, on my lunch break, went walking. I would walk all over town. I'd just be out there walking every day. Hometown Buffet? But I didn't stop. I kept moving. All of a sudden, the pain, the body aches went away. My stress lowered. I started feeling really good. That was over 40 years ago. I'm retired now. I will be 70 my next birthday. And I no longer have those backaches and body pains. I have managed to keep that weight off. Well, most of it. And I still walk throughout my neighborhood for hours. I get a chance to see the neighbors, meet them, they meet me. And wouldn't you know it, recently, I got stopped by the police. I'm thinking, why is he stopping me? Did I jaywalk? Was I in the middle of the road? I couldn't figure it out. Said, "You're wondering why I stopped you." Well, I just want to thank you. Because of you, I have lost 10 pounds. I see you walking all over every day, everywhere. And I thought, if you can do it, I can do it. If you want to lose weight, start walking. If you want to have less body aches and body pain and just be more relaxed, start walking. And if you just want to be healthier, happier, and happier, and wise and youthful, start walking. I never got a chance to thank Mrs. Allen. She will never know how much she inspired me to start walking. And with this talk today, I hope I have inspired you the way Mrs. Allen inspired me. So I'd like to leave you with this one thing. If you want to start walking, start walking. Contest you.
Timer, call for 1 minute of silence, and then we'll call evaluator number 2.
One minute.
All righty, now it is time for me to call the general evaluator. Judith Ferber.
Yes.
Could you please give us the timing for the evaluators?
Oh, the timer. Oh, oh, it's not the timer that giving the, okay, the timer, would you give us the timing for the evaluators?
Yes. For the evaluators, they have 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will show the green card. At 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I will show the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I will show the red card. They have 30 minutes to wrap up. Back to you. General
Thank you.
evaluator.
Don't we have
All
another
right.
speaker? Do we have another speaker?
We're going to call for the evaluators right now to evaluate the first 2 speeches following the agenda.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I'm going to call evaluator number 1, which is Carrie Lynn Kelly, is going to evaluate speech number 1. Carrie Lynn Kelly.
Okay, Dee Marie, I love this speech. You definitely had vocal variety. I believe that you did connect with your audience. I love the fact that you had the props, the crutches, and the book. The stretch goal I would have for you is to give us a little more vocal variety, like when you talked about the whisper, but you didn't whisper. You used your regular sounding voice. And when you hold up the book, hold it up longer. We want to see it. We want to see that beautiful book. So hold it up longer for us while you talk about it. And overall, the message was loud and clear. Listen to the voices in your head, and obey them. So that is my evaluation. Back to you.
Thank you so much. I will
Okay,
now
so-
call
Oh,
for.
okay. I announced the evaluators. Okay,
What?
our next evaluator is Dr. Michelle Peticolas, who is going to evaluate Isaac's speech. Thank you, Michelle.
Sorry, I was muted. Oh, hey, Isaac, I have heard this speech before and I love the way in which you changed it around. I think the way in which to create a really good international speech is to try different things out. And I thought that starting out with a story about your wife was very compelling. Also, I thought your vocal variety was great. You gave conversations with different people. I think you could tweak that a little bit more by really trying to change the voices, like maybe give the policeman an Irish accent, or the woman at the Weight Watchers, maybe make it higher or something, because you could actually add some humor in when you do that. The other thing you were really good at was your body gestures. You are great with your body gestures. It's one of the things I like the most, particularly when you leaned over and you saw your weight when you leaned down. And you could actually make that even funnier by your reaction. That would be like, play around in the mirror and see what you can come up with in terms of like, that would make us all laugh, because we could all relate to that. And by the way, your topic was totally relatable, because all of us have some issues around having exercising. So what I thought you could do to improve, or maybe even challenge yourself, is to change the structure around again and go back to Miss Allen in the beginning. But at the time, you might start it out by, you know, you watched her, but you didn't really take her seriously, or maybe you even made jokes about her. And then she becomes more important later on, after you've gone to see the Weight Watchers, that the Weight Watchers was the pivotal moment. And finally, because then it becomes a bookend at the very end, when you mention her once again, that she inspired you, and then you inspired the policeman. And you could also play around with that policeman a little more by making us all get a little nervous that something was terrible is going to happen, because all of us can relate to being pulled over by the police and feeling nervous. Overall, great speech. I am looking so forward to seeing it again. I hope you come back and give it again after you win whatever the area or division contest you have next. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Greatly appreciate that. And I'm going to announce a 5-minute break. We're going to pause the recording, and we'll be back at 18:54. I think we're a little early right now, but we're going to take a 5-minute break. Timer.
Great. I love that we're early. I'm eating my dinner. It's a good break time. And next week, we have the afternoon session. And we have created a pod of 6 people that are going to practice their TEDx speeches. 3 of them are going to speak next week, and 3 of them are going to act as role players. And then they're going to switch on the 27th. But we're going to do it in the main room this time, because last time the main room was pretty empty when we had the full pod in the breakout room. So we're going to try it in the main room and have it very full. But we're going to have 4 speakers, because 1 speaker was already scheduled. So we'll have 4 speakers next week as well as this week. Should be great. And Rosalind, I did get your article, but I haven't reviewed it all yet. Okay, enjoy your break. See you in a couple minutes. Oh, Taze, you're here. Great.
Yes, good evening. Good afternoon. Is good evening here.
It's 6:41 here, so it's 10:41 for you, right?
Correct.
Great. And Isaac or Curtis, can you put a G in front of Taze's name as he's a guest? And I'm going to take a picture of him.
Me alone.
Of our guests together.
Okay.
And
Let me
Rosemary's here. Great. And Mario's here.
We're at
Let's put a G
4:30.
in front of Mario's name too.
We're at 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay. And we'll just get the G on Mario, and then I'll take a picture of our guests.
Where do you put the picture on? Like you all have an Instagram page or something?
No, this is not for social media. It's for us to get paid. We get paid for our guests.
Okay,
Especially if they become a member.
5 minutes.
And Michelle, could you take a picture as that will get a better shot of all in the gallery view?
Okay.
Are you?
Got it.
And you got Taze and Mario.
I got Mario. Oh, I've got Taze. Okay. We've got
Taze.
Well, who else was a guest?
Taze, Mario, and
Judy.
also Judy.
What happened to
Judith Gerber.
Louine? Oh, there she is. Okay, we got them all. Mhm.
Oh, you got them all.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then if you could send those to me via email, it'd be great. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Taze. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Judith. And
So there's no 1, 2, 3 cheese.
Oh, you want me to do the 1, 2, 3 cheese? I can do that. I was catching you before you, put your video off or something. But yeah, sure. Let's see, Alex. How about you? Let's see you.
That we all know to smile.
Mario, let's see you. We're going to get a nice picture of all of you there. Oh, wow. How could you hide? You're gorgeous.
There you are.
Okay, we got it.
All right, so we are going to, our break is over. We're going to get back and resume the meeting. Let me introduce to you our evaluator number 3, Miss Dorothy King.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I will be evaluating speaker number 3, who is Carrie Kelly. And the title of her speech is "The Silence is Very Loud." This is a contest speech, so there will be no introduction, but she has asked me to pay close attention to her vocal variety and her pacing and pauses. And that is her speech. The silence is very loud.
Do I get an intro or was that it?
You said there was no intro. That's what I
Oh,
was.
no, I meant you, okay,
But you
name,
always say-
title, name,
Yes.
title, name. That's what I was
Carrie
like.
Lynn, the
like-
silence is very loud. Carrie Lynn, the silence is very loud, 5 to 7 minutes.
If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody that they're traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. I am legally blind. And this means I have enough eyesight to get in trouble, but not enough to get a driver's license. And I have seen the way some of you people with normal eyesight drive, and I could drive just as bad. I have the worst road rage too from the passenger seat. Don't be driving in front of me and you don't use your blinker right. Let me tell you that universal sign language will go flying. So today I am going to paint a picture that no one wants to see. I'm going to tell a story that no one wants to hear. And you are going to be very uncomfortable. So where we are going to start is in the back seat of my brand new mom and dad's car when they adopted me. And they're driving me away from the home that I've known for all 4 years of my short life. I am distraught and inconsolable and crying very, very hard. My brand new mother from the passenger seat turns around, she points her finger at me, she says, "Care, shut up all that noise." My dad, driving a car, never said a word. His silence was very loud. The next place we're going to go is going to be on Sunday morning, 4 years later, when I am 8 years old. Look up in the choir stand, and you can see the little children, all dressed in yellow, because we are the Sunshine Band. That voice that you heard me using in the beginning of this speech started when I was 8 years old in that little kids choir. And of course, since that was the first time anyone ever heard me sing, I was so excited. So I'm fidgeting and wiggling and whispering to my friend that's sitting next to me, all while the pastor is up preaching. And this is a Pentecostal church, so we have been here for a while, right? My mother got up out of her seat and walked over to the choir stand where I was at. She pointed her finger at me. She said, "Shut up talking in church." That whole church, including the pastor, went silent. That silence was very loud. The next place we are going to go is the very next day on Monday morning when my mom drops me off at the babysitter's house. And I would be there until my school bus will come to pick me up and take me to school. But this day, after I had finished my cereal and I was sitting there watching Sesame Street on a tiny little black and white TV, my babysitter's 19-year-old grandson came to visit. And he grabs me by my hand and walks me into his bedroom. And I end up with socks shoved in my mouth. My pants and my underwear are off, and he is on top of me when I hear the school bus come. And then that school bus left without me on it. That silence was very loud because nobody is coming for me. 4 years later, when I'm 12 years old, it's the wee hours of the night, and my covers were tucked in very tight when I got into the bed. So when they start moving and I feel my blankets being pulled and yanked on, I wake up and I look around and I see my dad in my room. I asked him, "What are you doing in here? Are you drunk?" "No, I ain't drunk." "Are you sure you're not drunk?" "No, I ain't drunk." "If you don't get out of here, I'm going to start screaming and I'm going to wake up my mother." Now, our bedrooms shared a wall and they were almost paper thin. So I know my mother could hear what was going on, and she never said a word to me. Her silence was very loud. Come with me, and I'm about 21 years old, and I'm in the passenger seat of one of my relatives' car. And she tells me that she remembers when my mother was excited about adopting me. She was telling people, "Oh, I'm so excited. I have this beautiful little girl that I'm going to adopt." And my relative remembers thinking at the time that it wasn't a good idea for my mother to be adopting a child because the house that I was going to be living in was not a good place for a child or a little girl to be in. But she never said a word. Her silence was very loud. So at this point, all these people that were seeing what was happening and they stayed silent is why I'm here today speaking up. I don't ever want another child to go through what I went through. So I'm sharing my story so that if you see something, please say something. So my story shall not be in vain. Toastmaster, back to you.
Rosalind, you're muted.
I like to make those grand entrances. So we'll call for 1 minute of silence. And we will call for evaluator number 4.
One minute.
All right, we will go with the speaker who's going to evaluate speaker number 4, and that'll be Isaac Ford.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Alex will be speaking from Presentation Mastery, Project 1, number 3, to introduce to vocal variety and body language. present a speech on any topic, and use vocal variety or body language and gestures or both. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, so before us tonight, we have Mr. Alex Balish, how a quarter, nickel, and a dime can make you a success, 5 to 7 minutes. Alex.
I've been told it's supposed to be a good idea to have a dynamic joke when you start a speech. But instead, I don't want to tell a joke. I want to pick a fight. I want to pick a fight with what seems to be not in fashion, which is doing the right thing. That's right, doing the right thing. It seems nowadays the rules don't apply to everybody. We can bend them, we can cut corners, we can just outright just don't even use them. Now, I firmly believe that being accountable for your actions goes somewhere. It's kind of like a little black dress. It never goes out of style, right? That said, why is this trend gone wild? Well, I grew up in New Jersey, and my family had a family-run liquor business. And my father told us, you know what? You want to live in this house? You got to go to work. Okay. So when I was 8 years old, I went to work. And what did we do? We went to the liquor store, and I learned the value of a quarter, a dime, and a nickel. It's not as in fashion right now because people have paper money. Nope. We have credit cards. Absolutely. And we have all these other things. But back in the day, making change was part of a larger plan that my father and his uncles and my great uncles had. These were men that wore a shirt and a tie at the liquor store. That's right. They actually put loafers on, put a shirt and tie on, and went to work. And they had pride in what they did. When I was growing up, I was 8 years old. So what do? You get a bottle, you make it all nice, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. You put the price on it. The price gun was the best. People would come in, I'd card them. Yep, you got it right. I carded an 8-year-old carded a kid, and I had to know what it was. But the best part was when my great uncle Sam would say, all right, come here, Tommy, Jeffrey, Alex, because he can never remember any of our names. You got to know how to make some change. And he would show me how to do it. Something as simple as dollars, making sure they were all the same way. Drove him nuts. Unfortunately, I do the same thing with my daughter when we do have money, when she's selling her Girl Scout cookies. But the fact is, that gave me the principles that I have today. Because all those little things add up to one big thing: standing up, doing the right thing. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. It's about a basketball player. He grew up the star of his team from 8 years old all the way into high school, getting a little trouble, under the rug. College, again, because he's the star. He goes to professional NBA and rapes a girl. And everybody's pointing fingers at him. Why? Because he's awful. Now, you can't have it both ways, people. You can't say we can create a village, but we only want that village unless they're nice. He's been told yes his whole life. Nobody's ever told him no. He finally gets in trouble. They throw the book at him. He's in jail, and he's saying, why me? Is it his fault? Yeah, he did it. But is it his people's fault as well? Meaning his manager, his family, his teachers, his everybody. Yes, because no one held him accountable. And if they'd done that one thing, maybe he might not have made the choice that he did. I realize that's not a positive story. But again, we're picking a fight here. And I throw uppercuts and I throw jabs and I throw it all because that's the reality of the world I live in. Why? Because I'm an entrepreneur. And if I don't sell, I don't make any money. I tell my wife all the time, this is worth $1,000. It's my business card. She's a teacher. She didn't understand that until she got me her first job. She said, give me more. I say that because that's what it's about, working hard. My last story is this. My daughter learned how to play field hockey this year. She's 8 years old. We practice for hours by ourselves. It's the big game. They're undefeated. It's the last game of the season. She plants her foot, she shoots, and she misses. She plants her foot again, she shoots, and she scores, ties. The team was undefeated with one tie, and that was because of her. And I asked her, why did that happen? Because I practiced, right? Because I practiced. I made sure I did the right thing. I don't know if she's going to play field hockey again, but I know one thing. She started that season and she ended it. And that's what this is about, finishing strong. It's not where you start, it's where you end. Now, I know you all want to hear a joke, and I got a dynamic one for you. You ready? Knock, knock. Who's there? The guy who doesn't plan and doesn't work hard. The guy who doesn't plan and doesn't work hard, who? Exactly. Thank you.
All right, we'll call for 1 minute of silence and then we'll go call our general evaluator.
Teachers before, please. Alaska always pays his debts. Justin, yes. In 1522, this magnificent Ottoman man used more than 100,000 troops to besiege and finally capture Rhodes. Justin, yes.
One minute.
Thank you. Our next evaluator is Dorothy King, who is going to evaluate Carrie Lynn's Kelly's speech. Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. So, Carrie Kelly took us on a journey with her. And she started out preparing us for the journey that she was about to take us on. It was going to be a story that we didn't want to hear. She said that we would be very uncomfortable. And there were moments when our hearts went out to her because we could feel the emotions in her voice. But I want to talk about the dynamic way she started her speech by singing. She has a very nice voice, and she started with a song. She had asked me to watch her pauses, her pacing, and her vocal variety. And I noticed numerous points where there was excellent vocal variety. She would shout as she said, "Kid, shut up all that noise." And this was the adoptive mother who was speaking to her. And then she would lower her voice and say, but her silence was noticeable. It was there. Then she talked about singing in the choir. So apparently she started singing as a child and she likes to sing. She talked about singing in the junior choir. But there again, her adoptive mother got up in the middle of the church and came up and embarrassed her and shouted, "Carrie, shut up talking in church." Because as little kids do, she was fidgeting and she was talking to some of the other choir members. Then she wrenched my heart when she talked about the babysitter and her 19-year-old son, and how the silence of the babysitter was very loud because she had to know that her son was in the house. Nothing was done and nothing was said. Then she went on to talk about her dad, and she used vocal variety in terms of using his voice. And she also yelled at him and said, "What are you doing in here?" And he replied, "No, I ain't drunk." But she knew something had to be wrong. To sum all this up, it sounds as though she began to speak very dynamically when she said, "I'm speaking up. I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I went through." And she ended in a dynamic way by ending the way she started, by singing. And the words of the song are what touched me as well. "My living shall not be in vain." And she gave a call to order for all of us that if we see something, say something. I enjoyed your speech, Kelly. I know it wasn't meant to enjoy. It was meant to deliver a message. I got that message. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. It's all these wonderful dynamic evaluation. And our next dynamic evaluator is Isaac Ford, who is going to evaluate Alex Bellish's speech. Welcome, Isaac.
Thank you for that, Madam Toastmaster, Madam Evaluator. Alex, I loved your speech. I really hadn't paid much attention to it before, but you've really got it much better. I like the way you opened it with, "I want to pick a fight." And I'm waiting to see what fight you wanted to pick. And you told us with the 3 stories that you had. The one with the liquor store, working for your parents at 8. And then the story about the basketball player. And finally, you ended with your daughter. So what I really liked is you had good vocal variety. I loved how you imitated. I don't know if he was your uncle, but
My uncle.
the way you imitated him was very good. And you had good body movement. I guess the one thing that I would suggest maybe, and I don't know, is when instead of saying, "I want to tell you a story," just jump into the story.
Makes sense.
I'm not sure what stories you had. I mean, you had 3 stories, so just go right into them. Don't tell us. Then the other thing is what I would recommend is add some humor.
Okay.
Now, the best way to add humor is through dialogue, because it's hard to, just make jokes. So you kind of want to throw the humor on someone else, have them to deliver the funny lines. Like, I'm not sure, but like your uncle or somebody, I don't know if they said anything to you, but instead of you saying my uncle did this, just say, "And my uncle was saying," or "my uncle said," and just say what he said. But and maybe find a few places like that you could add some humor. Because I forget what the saying goes. It's like, if you don't want to get paid as a speaker, then don't add any humor. But if you want to get paid, add some humor. And
Okay.
so that really works. I thought your closing was very good when you told the joke, and the joke was, "I want to pick a fight," or who I can't.
It's basically, it goes, who, if the guy doesn't
Knock, knock,
prepare,
who's it?
he's nothing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Knock, knock, who's there?
Yeah. Excellent speech, Alex. I think you're getting better and better
Thank you.
as you talk. And that's the thing about being a Toastmaster. You are going to talk. So great job. And just keep giving those speeches. Back to you, Madam GE.
Thank you so much. I hope that all the speakers will take to heart these wonderful evaluations that we just heard. And now I will bring back to the lectern to our dynamic Toastmaster, Roslyn.
Thank you so much. We are now going to move to the part that I love. It is the table topic session. So I want to call on the timer, and then I will have the table topics master tell us their duties. Let's begin with dynamic timer. Lydia Norman.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. For table topics, they will have 2 minutes. I will show the green card at 1 minute, the yellow card at 1:30, and the red card at 2 minutes. They will have 30 seconds to wrap up. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
This way it sounds as if it's transformed into colors. Stephanie, yes. A lot of hot air for 400. There's a chip in the name of this device that blows hot air across the inside of the car's windshield. That's it. Yes, the defroster.
Rosalind, do you want to introduce the table topics master?
Sure. The table topics master for tonight is Michelle Pentacolis. I'm sorry.
Yes. And the theme for today is Women's History Month. And the word of the day is dynamic. So I'm going to be giving you some topics to give a short 2-minute speech or 1 to 2 minute speech on. I want you to remember that word dynamic. And I have some great questions that will help you to be dynamic. I'm going to change to gallery view so I can see who is going to raise their hands and be a volunteer. So I see Alex is right there. You want to go first? And then after that, I want to get some guests. So Alex, the question is,
well,
yes, you want somebody else?
Ask a member that hasn't
Not spoken.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just
we're
kind of.
supposed to give opportunities.
Right. Okay, so
Yeah.
anybody else want to raise their hand that would like to speak?
Definitely.
Who is that?
Mario.
Mario, you're ready to speak. Awesome. So here's the question.
Sorry,
Tell me-
I had bad connection. I had to switch from my mobile to my PC because I would swipe automatically and accidentally close twice. So how many, first things first, how many speakers you have time for and how many questions?
Well, I have plenty of questions, but at least we have 3 speakers. And also, I think I should go with somebody who's already a member first. Is that right? And then go to Mario, Cynthia? Because I see Atipa's got her
Usually,
hand up.
but is Mario ready to go? He can just
Mario's ready to go. He's good.
Atipa's raising her hand and she can go next. Okay.
Okay. So Mario, my question is, this being Women's History Month, I want to know one woman who you are specifically and especially grateful for having in your life.
Before everything begins, I just want to ask, as soon as you finish the question, the timer starts, or when I start speaking?
When you start speaking, Mario.
Same 1 to 2.5 minutes, the regular, correct?
That's right.
All right, because some clubs, as soon as the table topics master finishes the question, mercilessly they start the timer, and then you're like 30 minutes out. Okay. As much as this is going to sound cliche, I'm very much thankful about my own mother. Now, my parents have always raised me to take care of people, to be loving, but they never really invested into my social life. And I had to learn to really nourished that part of life where I was always the bookworm, always the smart guy, but the antisocial, awkward kid that was either talking too much or was very sensitive and was very, didn't know how to deal with things in life up until, I don't know, 20 years, up until I was like 23, 24, when I started finally having long-term friends, and they would come and go in my life. But I'm very grateful for my mom, because despite the trials and tribulations, she always pulled me through. So did my dad, but mothers are mothers, and mothers' instinct, they understand you more. They understand, they feel, because it's that maternal instinct that they support you. And I actually talk on a much deeper level than I'm explaining to you this right now. Like, I'm gonna go into some deep stuff like suicidal thoughts and I don't know, watering your bed and not having a girlfriend for the extended period of time and all that kind of stuff. And she's always been there for me. So has my dad, but I don't know. Mothers are on a different level. Like, those who are loving mothers, like, you have helicopter parenting. Those are my parents, but I've learned to cherish and understand my mom more, and I'm very grateful for having parents that have stood by me through all the BS that has happened in my life. And I'm actually a very strong and mature person that can stand for myself and always fight for everyone, because I treat everyone equally regardless of who they are. It's all because of my mom. Well, mostly because of me, but very grateful for my mom who stood there for me and still is. She is in the back room sleeping. So thank you, mother.
Mario, that was an excellent, wonderful speech. And I totally relate to, I do not see that as a cliche at all. I feel the same way. The most important woman in my life was my mother as well, although it was conflicted. But the more I give speeches, the more I realize how important she was. So that was a very dynamic and a very touching and a very vulnerable speech. Thank you for sharing that. I think it really reminds us all of how important women are, starting from who gave us birth. The next person is, where are you? You had your hand up before?
I'm here, Atifa.
Atifa, yes, sorry, a little mind break there. So the question I have for you is, tell me a story about one woman that you found especially empowering for you in your life.
Cliche or no cliche, it is the mother. And time and again, as we talk of women who are significant, who play the most important role in our lives, I don't think anybody else can replace the place of a mother. So yes, for me also it is the mother. And right from the earliest days that I can remember, that is preschool, I remember my mom sitting in the veranda or the porch section of the house with refreshments, with all her paraphernalia to get me freshened up right out of, right moment I reach home. And she would just sit with me, listening to my day and getting me through my homework and feeding me. And those are the earliest memories I have of her. And I think those days did shape for me the kind of person I have become. I could see, I could not understand at that point, but it left such a lasting memory that looking back, I realized that that level of concern, that level of love which she showered upon me, the shaping of my mind, which she did in her own little way. She wasn't very educated, highly educated, but by helping me through my homework, the dutifulness which she imparted in me, that I need to have my assignments ready on time. And all of that were the first building blocks that really served me all through my life. And up until today, when I am the mother of a 20-year-old, I find my mother being the most dominant influence telling me how to get by, how to behave with everybody else, how to say no at times. And how can there be somebody else more important than the mother is the question I put to all of you, honored audience. And that's it from me right now. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. That was a great speech, Atifa, and a beautiful mother once again. And you make the point of how loving and supportive she was. And that is probably one of the most important things we need as children to become empowered. So it totally makes sense. It is not a cliche. It's the real deal. I'm going to look at the gallery view again and see who is my next volunteer. Who wants to speak? How about some more? Somebody said Martesh. Is Martesh here?
Martesh?
Yes.
Taze is raising his hand also.
Okay, we'll do Taze.
Yes.
I love
I don't
it.
think Martesh is here.
He asked me but anyway, never mind. He's not here. So Taze, I love all these males giving their stories about women. I think that's so perfect. We need to hear that. Taze, would you please tell me about one of your favorite women from history? What is your most favorite woman from history that you have a story about? I know you wanted to give the story about your mom. Maybe it'll have to be your grandma.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. I will attempt to be out of the box for this question, and I will pick I will pick Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa is, well, today she is Saint Teresa. She's more than mother. She's a saint now. And what I admired about her is that she went to India and she had a genuine self-sacrificing spirit. She just wanted to make the world a better place. And for her to do that, she did it in small steps. She decided to feed the poor. She was a nun. I think she started schools, and she bent over backwards to feed kids, to feed schools, to fund organizations. And she stands out for me because we share the same personality type. So I guess we may have some things in common. And she is immortalized in history for being great, for helping the poor, and for making a difference in people's lives, and probably even make things better for women today. A lot of women today like equal rights. They like being educated. They like being promoted. They like leadership roles. And someone like Mother Teresa would have paved the way for modern women today to be where they are now and for greater things to come. Thank you, Table Topics Master.
I'm muted. Thank you, Taze, for your very heartfelt story about Mother Teresa. She is an amazing woman, and she was extremely generous with her time and humble, and she is an inspiration and a dynamic woman. Get that word in there, dynamic. If you would like to, I believe we still have some more time. So if you want to be one of our Table Topics speakers, raise your hand. That way I don't have to switch back and forth between the, Luim, great. Here is the topic for, are you still there?
Yeah, here.
Okay,
I'm
great.
here.
Okay, so there you are.
Yeah.
My question for you is, please share about a favorite female celebrity for you that is really important, that has really had an impact on your life in some way.
Okay, thank you, Toastmasters. Okay, I don't know anyone, women celebrities. Of course, I know, but only their names. So for today's opportunity, I would like to take Miss Cynthia Stott as my favorite celebrity. Actually, my dream was to study abroad because I love English very much. And learning English is my passion. It is my favorite subject. And I've been learning English for the whole of my life. But then I've never had the chance to meet any native English speaker. But thankful to the technology, I've got connected with Miss Cynthia. And I consider my dream come true. And now I am here among of the native speaker. And I try to immerse myself with all the native speakers around me. And with that, I'm forever grateful to Miss Cynthia, my favorite celebrity. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Louise. That was a beautiful tribute to Cynthia, who is indeed a dynamic woman. I believe we still have time. So if you want to put your hand up, and Judith, do you want to take a table topics?
Yes.
All right.
My favorite table topics about.
Yes, women, right?
Yes.
This time I want to know what woman influenced your beliefs about femininity, empowerment, or equality. Who is the person that you most attribute that your beliefs to?
Femininity and equality.
You know, it doesn't have to be the same person if it's a different person. I have to say.
What I actually would like to say is how women played a very important part in my life, pretty much growing up. I did not have a good, close relationship with my mother. However, there were many women in various stages of my life who contributed to my well-being and development in so many ways. And that was pretty much all the time until a few years ago that I lost a friend who was a friend for about 45 years. When I first came to the United States, I met her and we stayed friends until she passed away a few years ago, who was absolutely, I could say, the most important part of my life, who always been there to encourage me to, whether it was my business or whether I've been involved in various political organizations. And I think it just, women have been so important part of my life, and still they are. And I am also hoping that I contribute something to somebody else's life. And I think it's very important that we have strong women in our lives. And that's what I want to contribute to this particular Women's History Month. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judith. Very powerful story about a woman who was essential to your growth and in adapting to being in a different country and becoming empowered, and how important our friends are. And I love that you brought in the friend dynamic, because friendships especially with our women friends, is very important to our development and encourage us and maybe even teach us a little bit about femininity. Do we have another speaker? I think we have a little bit more time.
Yeah,
Please.
that would be great. What about Rosemary or Mary Thomas?
Are they raised their hands?
They didn't. I voluntold.
Oh, you both
I don't
well, let's see. Let me see. I'm going to
Available.
look in the gallery and say, Mary Thomas, would you like to speak? You always have such a wonderful way of speaking.
Yeah, and Rosemary.
I can. The problem is I have issues with my internet. That's why I'm off cam.
You can
Can you hear me?
just verbal. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. If I break, just let me know.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Tell me about a woman from history that more people should know about, and why does her story resonate with you?
Thank you, Table Topic Master. The woman that I would want to bring out into the world and be known, offhand, I cannot remember her name, but she's the one who went to med school pretending to be a man and successfully completed her medical studies. I believe that someone who could do that is someone really brave and courageous, because she would probably, not probably, she is the only woman in that male-dominant medical school. And to think that not only did she graduate from med school, she even had the courage to practice medicine against the grain. She's noted to be someone who saw science in a very different way compared to how we are taught in med school. And that kind of thinking out of the box and yet being in the box, it's something totally, I would say, wow to that. Because how could someone do that in an era when women were shunned, women were deemed and seen to be, I don't even know where they were seen. Okay, maybe in the kitchen, maybe just doing the laundry, maybe just running after teary-eyed children. But the fact that she could get there, the fact that she could even think about doing it, that's just totally amazing. I know today women are very liberated. They're able to do a lot of things they're supposed to do. But for a woman like her to have done that, that's totally amazing. Totally amazing. Back to you, Table Topic Master. Could you hear me?
Yes, I heard you, and it was an
Okay.
amazing story. And now I want to know who this woman was. It made me think about some other women in the medical profession and how they've changed our way of thinking about medicine and the delivery of medicine. And women really have humanized that practice, although they could probably even use more women. So thank you for the very dynamic and very powerful speech. Madam Toastmaster or Madam Timer, do we have time for one more? I believe we do. Yes, so it is somebody else out there. Who was the other person that you thought we should get?
Rosemary, if she's available.
Rosemary Sweeney, are you available?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. All right. Okay, so for you, the question is, tell us about one woman in your family that more people should know about and what makes them awesome.
I grew up with my grandmother, like most people, and what I admired about her was that she could not read, nor could she write, but she could check properly. And every afternoon after school, she would call me to sit with her and find out what did I have for homework. Now, at that tender age, I never realized she could not read or write. So she would have me read out the information I wrote to her. And then she would ask me to read it over again. And she would say, "Is that how you want to write that? No, go and write it over again." And I found myself probably writing 5 or 6 times before she agreed to what I had written. It was only when I became older, I realized, hey, my grandmother cannot read, neither can she write. But in growing up, I never knew that. The children around me never knew that, because whenever they came to my home, she would ask them to open their book and read to her the last thing they wrote. So we just thought she was just going to be reviewing our work. And I not only wish that more people would have known about her, but I also wish that more parents today who can read and write would do that with their children and ensure that they have completed their homework or are able to read and write. Because in this world today, there are a number of illiterate children, which should not be. With the internet at our fingertips, our parents should be more like my grandmother. And this is the person I would like in my family, I would like others to know about. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Rosemary, and thank you for the lovely tribute you gave to your grandmother. And we should recognize all the women in our lives and give them acknowledgement. In fact, I want you all to think for a moment about who in your life, what woman in your life really deserves your gratitude. And with that said, I think that we have kind of run out of our time, and I would like to turn the podium back to our...
You could do one more if you like. We have just a tiny little bit of time. You can have one more if you have another person who would
If
like
I have
to.
another person, you think? Okay, sure. You're
Does
right.
anyone else want to go? Oh, Dee Marie raised her hand.
All right, Dee Marie. Yes, so we go into the people who have spoken. So yes, let me see if I have another
Last
speech here.
one.
Yeah. Okay, so Dee Marie, who of the feminine persuasion, although, you know, with all these gender confusions, it gets harder, but we're going to stick with the feminine here. What female in your life empowered you in your youth? Who made a real difference in your childhood to empower you? Really important time when we were children.
I am certainly not considering this to be a cliche, but I have to be transparent. My mother was the most important person in my life. She was humble, she was quiet, but she just got the job done. I often remarked that I had never seen anyone as brave as she was. She taught me the true meaning of a lasting and enduring love because of the fact that she and my father were married for 35 years before he passed away. But in those younger years, she was just there for me. Anything that I needed to do at school, anything that had to be done in terms of homework, she was there for me. And one of the ways that she helped me to be the best that I could be in school, she gave me the assignment of working with my younger brothers and sisters to teach them how to read and write and to do their homework. So that meant that I got a double dose of whatever it was. I was like her helpmate, and I was by her side at all times. And that ended up being a phenomenal experience because she became the great storyteller for me. Mom could tell stories about her life and my dad's life. And by hearing the stories that she told, I was able to connect the dots that led us to discover who our grandfather was, her dad. He was one of the war heroes that went and fought in France during World War I. And I was able to connect some of the information that she had told me, which verified what we got from Ancestry.com. because she had filled me with information about that. And it just proved to be very succinct. And I'll be forever grateful for the fact that I had that kind of relationship with my mom that lasted until she passed away at the age of 98. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Well, that is really impressive. Talk about a dynamic woman. She 98, is that what you said? 98? That's amazing. May we all be as robust and dynamic. Thank you all for your heartfelt, wonderful table topic stories. I feel my heart has opened up, has swelled to realize that women as mothers have a huge impact on us. And yet, you know, that is one of the unpaid labors of the world right now, is being a mother. And yet it is so important. And I would like to see that changed. Now I would like to turn the podium back over to our illustrious Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much.
General evaluator.
Oh, I
Thank
go
you.
back to the general evaluator?
Yes.
It goes to me, and then I give it to
Oh, the
you.
Toastmaster, that's right. Toastmaster.
Yes, so thank you, Dr. Michelle Pittico. Those were absolutely beautiful, beautiful stories, and we learned so much about so many people. I now give the control over to the amazing Judith to take us on to the next part of our meeting.
Well, before we go to the next part of our meeting, I would like to say that there was Margaret Ann Buckley of Ireland, who was committed herself to be a man for 56 years, who studied medicine. And from a woman, she lived as a man, as a surgeon, and various other capacity, a midwife, because in that 18th, 19th century, women, she just didn't want to be a household, a woman who just take care of children, and that's lived her entire life. So I just found this person. I hope that is a person that this woman was talking about, but that's one brave woman out there, which must have been pretty difficult to do for 56 years. Anyway, moving right along. I'd like to have a timer report from our illustrious dynamic timer. Lydia, please tell us the timer report about the speeches and the table topics and evaluators and all those.
Okay, so we had 4 prepared speeches that each were to be between 5 and 7 minutes. Dee Marie King was 7:02. Isaac was 6:46. Carrie was 7:22. Alex was 6:28. For our evaluators, Carrie was 1:05. Michelle was 3:47. Dee Marie was 3:03. And Isaac was 3 minutes. For our table topics, Mario was 2:15, Atifa 2:14, Taze 2:09, Lewin 1 minute 39, Judith 1 minute 38, Mary 2 minutes 20, Rosemary 1:52, and Dee Marie was 1:58.
Thank you so much. And now we are going to have the grammarian report. Please, Sally Reyes.
Thank you. This was one of the best words we've ever touched. I think we have repeated this immensely, and I'm going to go down the list with everyone. Michelle was into 10, Alex 1, Rosalind 2, Judith 2, Liam 1, Dee Marie 3, Isaac 2, Lydia 1, Atifa 1, Marie 1, Dee Marie, Taz 1, and Rosemary won. An absolutely exciting and wonderful use to encourage all of us to be as dynamic as possible every single day. Thank you. Nothing, I like the sentence, do the right thing. And the silence is loud. Those are some beautiful thoughts. And thank you so much for all of your contributions. I don't think I got Carrie, 2 ums and 1 and that's it. We're all practically double A's. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sally. So I'm going to have a brief evaluation of the meeting. It was really wonderful. I loved the speeches. They were just so inspiring, and I certainly learned a lot from everyone. Isaac's speech that I also heard a couple of times was great, just absolutely a great speech. I loved table topics. That's really nice. Women are just so important in our lives, whether we are women or men. It's just, I think it's just really, it certainly was great contribution in mine. It was great that many members took on double roles, speaking, evaluating, table topics. That was really fabulous. Great meeting. I certainly learned a lot. I learned about the Scotsman who was a woman. And that actually is very exciting, that I certainly learned something I didn't know before. And thank you, everyone, for great meeting. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster, or we are getting back to a Cynthia Scott. I don't know exactly what role you are playing in now that.
I think it goes back to Rosemary, Rosalind.
It says to VPE here, but
it says to VPE. Okay, I have the okay. Well, thank you, Judith. Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you all. Wow, that was amazing table topics. I'm glad we got to do an extra long session. I don't know how many people we had, but wow, that was great. Quick VPE moment. Next week's roles are filled completely at the afternoon session. That's because we're moving the TEDx Elite pod from the breakout room into the main room, and we're adding Linda as a 4th speaker. So it's a nice full complement. But 2 weeks from today is the same time in evening, starting at 5:30 p.m. Pacific to 8 p.m. Pacific. Are you available on March 20th? And I believe all the roles are open right now. So would anyone like to speak? And we encourage you to speak and evaluate if you can. Yeah. Mario, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. Before you guys leave, I was just wondering, so how come are you connected with TEDx? Because I remember seeing you back when the Udly ambassadors had a presentation, and I remember, hold on, let me just double check. I remember
we are going to have a TEDx event at Leaders Worldwide. We're going to organize it. We're going to bring in a license holder, and we're going to hold our own event. And it will be the first one for Toastmasters since 2010. There's only been one other Toastmasters group that I've been aware of, and it is in Bahrain. And they had it in 2010 and nothing since. So we are organizing, it will be an actual TEDx event, and our speakers' videos, if it passes the test, will be posted on YouTube and TED.com and hopefully go viral in the millions. So we're doing something very unusual.
Yeah, I remember Taze McLeod being interviewed in the breakout room during a previous Toastmasters Club meeting. I remember him from, I think it was Online Presenters. Correct me, Taze, if I'm wrong.
No, I'm from a club in Trinidad and Tobago called SIPS Power Achievers Toastmasters Club.
Anyway, yeah. Are you guys gonna wrap it up, or do you have anything
Yes,
else?
I'm asking for role players. So does
My-
anyone want to be a speaker? Rosalind. Oh, Rosalind. Yes. What? Oh,
I'll be
can
a
somebody
speaker.
scrub for me?
Does one have to be a member to speak?
Yes. Yes, we don't allow guest speakers unless they're a keynote speaker, and that's a very special situation. But you can be a guest role taker. We need timers.
What does a keynote mean? What's a keynote speaker?
That's a professional speaker that gives a longer speech. That's a very special, like the Toastmasters International presidents and things like that. So, Rosalind, what would you like to do?
I want to be a speaker.
Awesome. Would you also evaluate?
Of course, here to
Thank you
serve.
so much. We're so advanced here. And Michelle, what would you like to do?
Well, I think I'd like to be a speaker, especially if I win the area contest. I'll be needing more practice, so might do that.
Yes. And can you evaluate at the same time?
Well, not at the same time,
No,
but
at
after.
the same meeting.
But afterwards, after my
Yes.
speech, I could do that.
Yeah. The number 4 will evaluate number 1, and then everybody else evaluates the person after them.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Great. Excellent. We have room for 2 more speakers. And we need a Toastmaster of the day. And we need a general evaluator.
Sorry for interrupting, Miss Cynthia.
Yes.
Do you meet at this time every week or every 2 weeks?
No, twice a month. First Monday and third Monday. So we'll be on March 20th. We'll be meeting at this time.
So that's 5:30 p.m.
Pacific time to 8
West
p.m.
Coast. Okay.
Yeah, West Coast. Yes. Would you like to take on any role as a guest?
I mean, GE, sure, because I've never been one.
GE, great.
However, time-wise, I've put a lot of how do you say it in English? I've pulled a lot of all-nighters for different contests I've attended over the past week. I'm kind of drained, but keep me look. Have the place, have the role reserved. GE.
Can you put your email in the chat, and then we'll follow up with you to make sure that you can still be our general evaluator. We really appreciate that if you can.
Well, I did register, but here it is, just in case.
Okay, and Michelle, would you mind copying that down?
I'll get it.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Thank you.
everyone. I have to go.
Okay. Good night, Judith. Thank you.
Cynthia, just to double check. So regular standard regular structure, prepared speeches, and then evaluation, then table topics, followed by
yes.
evaluation, and then table Toastmasters.
Bye, Alex.
Correct?
Bye, Alex. I wanted to hear from you in the takeaways. Okay. I'm sorry, Mario. Can you please stay after and talk with us if you have any more questions? I need to get the role takers. Atifa, what would you like to do?
No, I'll be G. I was like,
Okay,
sure.
great. Atifa, what would you like to do? I see your hand is raised. Atifa, are you there? Maybe Sally, would you like to be grammarian?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And anybody else? Internet issue, Atifa. Okay, sorry. Okay. If you want to do a role, you can put it in the chat, or it'd be better to, okay. Atifa, you're going to be a speaker. And would you be an evaluator also? Atifa will be a speaker and an evaluator. Great. And Dee Marie.
Speaker.
Speaker and evaluator. We have 4 of them now.
Yes.
Okay, great. And Taze, would you like to take on any roles? Timer, we have Toastmaster.
I would like a rule, but the thing is, I will be like in the meeting late, so I would prefer to observe.
Okay, okay.
Um,
Or would you like to be our table topics master? You can do that later.
Table topics?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah,
But
table topics. Great.
You're breaking up.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Write it in
Thank you,
the chat.
Curtis. Thank you, Curtis.
No,
Yeah,
I
thank
said,
you.
said I wouldn't be present on time. I wouldn't be there on time.
Yeah, but table topics doesn't come till after the break. So you
Yes,
have
okay,
plenty of
okay.
time. Yeah, be great.
Okay.
Table topics. Anyone else? We need a Toastmaster of the day. How about okay, when I have a better okay. And Lydia, would you like to be Toastmaster of the
Lydia.
day? You'd be fantastic.
We would
I don't
like
think
to
you've done that role before.
I can try it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you'd be awesome. And it's probably going to be something around the women's month, right? It's just Women's Month, National
Women's History Month.
History Month. Thank you so much. I knew there was another name in there.
There was another
Yeah.
word there.
There's
Women's,
another word there.
Bathing suit month.
Bathing suit month. Okay, so we have Toastmaster, we have GE, we have table topics, we need timer.
Yeah, we need a timer.
I can do both. I can double task.
Timer and GE.
I like to test myself because I always want to push myself
Okay.
to my breaking point. So I think this is a good.
Okay.
So how long does your meeting last usually?
It's from 5:30 to 8 p.m. We do global networking the first 30 minutes, and then we start at 6 and we end by 8.
2.5
Okay, so we have all our roles.
But Mario, you could come in at 15 of, but if you're a role player, we need to make sure that you're there by quarter of, because otherwise we have to replace you.
Yes.
So
yes.
quarter of. So if you don't want to be there the whole 2.5 hours, yeah, but we keep, you do get a 5-minute break, right?
It's 5 in the morning.
Okay, and I'll follow up
It's
with
5 in the morning,
Savaraya.
Mario?
She wanted to be our timer too, so.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah, so you can find out what's
GE,
happening.
and we'll build up timer.
Never mind that.
Okay. Anyone else want to? We usually have takeaways and chocolates. It was a little late today, but we have a full complement on the 20th. And let's see. I wanted to hear from Alex because he couldn't. How about Carrie? Do you want to just give us a brief? How was the meeting for you? I thought that was a fabulous speech.
Thanks. Uh-oh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, no, this was a good meeting. I am constantly challenged with not letting my technology and my limitations throw me for the entire meeting. Like when I find that there's something that challenges me, it will have an effect, and it keeps happening because it's meant for me to learn and grow. So I'm gonna keep at it. I'm gonna keep working.
Nice attitude. It happens for me to learn and grow. That's beautiful. And I know that you always do really well with your essential oil, wild orange. Maybe you can sprinkle some wild orange on you, or take a sip of a tea with wild orange before the meeting.
Good
How's
point.
that?
Yes, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. And would you like some virtual chocolate? Maybe virtual chocolate with wild orange on it.
Just plain old milk chocolate, thank you.
Milk chocolate, yummy. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
Thank you. Yummy. Thank
Okay, yummy, yummy. Anyone else, real quick? How about you, Sally? How was the
Oh,
meeting for you?
coconut and chocolate, yes.
Coconut and chocolate. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3. Woo! There you go. Okay, well, we'll see you next week at 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time in the afternoon. We're a full complement there. And then also on the 20th from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we're checked in full. I love that all the roles are filled up. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, or a good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world. Bye.